Hey HDK, you may have guessed I am not in Launceston. I am in the middle of Australia, in the Western Australian outback. I'm in a town called Coopapedy, famous for opal mining, and it's a lovely place, but it has a few dangers. And so there are some things you need to do to make sure you're safe when you're out in the outback. One of the things you may want to pay attention to is something like this. This is a pretty important sign. They could be using blasting to get the opals out of the ground here. There could be shafts that you can fall down. So this stuff behind me, these are called mullock heaps, and they're basically the ground they've dug up from underground to look for these opals, and they're all over the place, but it's not the sort of place you want to just go wandering around. You need to be a little bit careful, but definitely worth exploring. Hey guys, I've retreated inside for a couple of reasons. You may have heard it was a little bit windy out there, so it was mucking up with our sound, but also it was 40 degrees outside. This place is hot. And so you might see this wall behind me. That's solid rock. We're underground, about 5 meters underground in our hotel room right now. And the people in Coopapedy live underground. They cut their houses into the banks of the hills and they move in under there because it stays nice and cool. But the reason people come to Coopapedy is this. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but that is an opal. That's the sort of stuff that people are looking for when they come to Coopapedy. They're absolutely beautiful. They come in all sorts of colours, but you can see the rainbow in them. They occur under the ground, and that's what the people are digging up to try and find. So you might remember that sign I showed you when we were outside just before. It was a sign to tell you about some of the dangers that exist in Coopapedy. It can be a dangerous place if you're not careful and you don't obey the rules. Those signs are there to keep people safe and to make sure they have a great time when they come to Coopapedy. So just like Coopapedy has those signs and those boundaries to keep all the people who come here safe, perhaps you've got some rules and some boundaries at your home or even at school. And those rules and boundaries, again, are designed to keep you safe, to make sure everyone gets along and everyone has a great time. In this series we're doing now, we're learning all about the life of Jesus. And today's is all about the young life of Jesus. We don't have a huge amount written about the young life of Jesus, but this is one of the key stories that we're learning about today. So in the story you might have seen, Jesus and his family travelled all the way to Jerusalem when he was 12 years old. And then after they'd performed the ceremonies that they needed to do, they started travelling home. And suddenly Mary and Joseph realised, where's Jesus? We haven't seen him for ages. And they start hunting around and they realise he's not with them. And they rush all the way back to Jerusalem and search the whole city trying to find him. They must have been freaking out. Imagine what your parents would be like if they realised you'd gone missing for 3 days. And finally they find him in the temple. And Jesus is just sitting there talking and listening. And he's like, what? Didn't you know where I was? I'd be in my Father's house. You see, I don't think he really got how his parents' heart was for them. They loved him so much. And they knew he was special, but they still wanted to keep him safe. And when he was missing, he wasn't safe for them. We can learn a lot from the early life of Jesus. I hunted through the drawers in our hotel room and found the trusty Gideon's Bible. And I'm going to read the final verse from our reading today. It's from Luke chapter 2, and this is verse 51. He went down with them to Nazareth, and he was subject to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. You see, subject to them means he showed them respect. He followed the boundaries they might have set, because that's how families get along. We can learn a lot from this early life of Jesus. He was a normal kid. Yes, he was special, and yes, he was destined for great things, but he still had a normal life to some extent. He had boundaries and rules he had to follow. He probably had chores he had to do. He had friends to play with. He had to get along with his brothers and sisters, which I'm sure wasn't always easy. Imagine if you were Jesus's brother. Pretty tricky job, I imagine. But we know that it says in here, he did those things just like a normal child, and we can learn a lot from them. All right, sign off from Coopapedy. I'm going to go and do some noodling, which is hunting for opals. Maybe I'll find my fortune, but I probably won't. And I'll see you guys sometime next year, hopefully. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the service. Bye.